Ah, the 80s. But I don't remember them. Probably because I was 1 when they ended. But it's an important decade, because that was the decade I was born.
Most illogical.
The 80s also saw a lot of action when it came to video games. It was the twilight years of the Atari game systems.
Have you played Atari today?
Thanks, E.T. Subsequent crash of the video game industry. Thanks again, E.T. And it saw the birth of something that would shape my life forever.
You get hold of the Nintendo Entertainment System.
You thought I was talking about the Nintendo. No.
You are about to step into a brave new world of power, performance, and productivity made possible by the new Commodore Amiga 500 home computer. Sit back and get set for the ride of your life.
I am the Commodore Amiga 500. I am the ultimate home computer. So easy to use, with powers and abilities far beyond anything you may have ever experienced before.
It was the Amiga 500. This is where my long games began. This is where it all started. Welcome to my life as a king.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum. I'm all out of gum.
Episode 1, 1988.
Back in my earliest years, I was into everything. Consoles, sci-fi, computers. I was a fucking nerd. And I definitely got teased about it. But it was worth it. Because those days introduced me to the quintet that has been with me to this day. Aliens, Predator, Star Trek, Star Wars, and of course, gaming. So I wanted to start something here. I want to take you on my journey, my life as a gamer. So I'm going to review one game for every year of my life that has meant something to me. So for the first year, we'll start with the year I was born. 1988, a game I loved as a kid. Most of you have probably never heard of. Atomic Robo Kid. So I'm trying to fire out the old memory banks. I researched and found out something that amazed me. This game has a story? Fucking news to me. But then again, back in the early days of gaming, story was less prominent and didn't matter. So the story, or I'd probably say the small fluff of it, is that you're the Atomic Robo Kid sent to defeat an evil alien governor. That's right, the boss characters of this game are called governors.
I want to be the governor for the people. I want to represent everybody.
Supposedly, Terra 12, a deep space outpost of Earth, was hit by a blast of cosmic radiation, and followed by, you guessed it, Arnold Schwarzenegger and his evil alien fleet of governors. Okay, so you got all that? Well, that's it. You know the story. Oh, spoiler alert, apparently there's a virus that requires you to wipe out Activision at the end. No, seriously, this is the end credits. Atomic Robo Kid was on several platforms, the Atari ST, the Commodore 64, the TurboGrafx 16, as well as its own arcade cabinet. Wait, what the fuck is a TurboGrafx 16?
Introducing TurboGrafx 16, the next generation video game system. It's 4 times faster, so the games are more exciting. There are almost 10 times as many colors, so the arcade quality graphics are even more intense. And you can expand your system with a CD player for CD games with sound effects that are turbocharged. TurboGrafx 16 from NEC, the higher energy video game system.
Huh. Well, anyway, the port I played was on the Amiga 500. Side-scrolling shooter placed you with the controls of this presumably thick as fuck boy in a tin suit, sporting all sorts of strange energy weapons. I think there was supposed to be a mechanic to discover flight later in the game, but you can pick it up right at the start. There wasn't much nuance to it. Fly right, shoot, kill, rinse, repeat. But that's what I loved as a kid. While my dad was playing complex adult games like Megalomania, I had something that needed hand-eye coordination, was bright and flashy, but didn't tax my oh-so-young brain. By the way, I didn't play this as a baby, I played it years later. Just to clarify, it was released when I was born. The core mechanics were simple, and the whole game fit on 2 Amiga floppy disks, which held approximately 901 kilobytes. The enemies and level design were weird, and didn't make much sense, but who cared back then? I'll tell you, fucking no one. Flew around killing enemies, picking up these pickups, which, by the way, no one told me you could shoot to change what they gave you. And just went from level to level, killed enemies, eventually the boss, and you had this weird little shootout with another Robo Kid, I'm assuming? Yeah, no idea. Eventually you come up against the main governor and kill it. This thing is massive, it's like 80% of the whole map. Huge. Then you win. A few hours and you're done if you know what you're doing, but back then not many people did. So to end this episode, and how I'm going to end every episode, is I'm going to give a score to each of the games that I play in the series. First is graphics, scored by the general graphics at the time of release. I'm going to give it an 8. Second is fun factor at the time I played it, which I'll give a 7, as for young little me it could be very hard. Third is replayability. Again, at the time I played, which I'd give it about a 7 again. Although I loved the game, there were way too many other titles on the Amiga which I had. And I had ADHD, couldn't stick with anything for too long. And this is part of where it all began. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for my next episode where I play a game that was as ridiculous as it was funny. Escape from the planet of the robot monsters.